Breaking now, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen home from El Salvador, landing at Dulles Airport about an hour ago. Thanks for joining us for DC News Now. I'm Mark Hall.
And I'm Tosin Fakile. The senator already spoke to the media. Van Hollen met face-to-face with Kilma Abrego Garcia last night. He is the Maryland man who was mistakenly deported by the Trump administration and sent to a prison in El Salvador.
And Tosin, the Trump administration maintaining claims that he has ties to the MS-13 gang, despite him having never been charged with a crime. It's a case that sparked a legal battle and made global headlines. The Supreme Court ordering that the government must facilitate his return. But President Trump and the president of El Salvador say that won't happen.
At DC News Now's Mariel Carbone live at Dulles Airport, where Senator Van Hollen just spoke. Mariel, he talked about a lot. Fill us in on what was said.
Yeah, Tosin and Mark, a lot to digest here. We know that the senator arrived back here about an hour ago. He spoke to the media for nearly 45 minutes, filling us in on his trip, his conversation with Abrego Garcia and what comes next. So to start, we know that he met with him yesterday evening at the hotel that the senator was staying at, but it was almost a surprise meeting. Van Hollen arrived in El Salvador on Wednesday, and on that day, he met with the vice president of El Salvador. He requested a visit with Kilma Abrego Garcia and was originally denied a meeting. The next day, on Thursday, the senator drove out to the prison that we've been told he is being held at, CCOT, and driving up there, he was turned away by armed soldiers, saying he would not be able to meet with Garcia at that time. On Thursday evening, as the senator was preparing to actually get ready for his flight to come back to the United States, he was contacted and told that he could and would be meeting with Garcia at the hotel he was staying at. So Garcia was brought to him and they were able to sit down and have a discussion. That was the main focus of the senator going to El Salvador, to check on the well-being of Garcia. So a little bit about the actual conversation that they had. We are told by the senator that Garcia said he is worried about his family. Thinking about his family is all that's keeping him going. They also spoke about Garcia's 5-year-old son who has autism. The son was actually in the car when Garcia was originally pulled over. As far as what Garcia knows, he says he was originally taken to Baltimore when he was detained last month and eventually was loaded onto a plane with other people. They couldn't see out the windows. They didn't know where they were going until they landed in El Salvador, and they were all taken to prison. He says at this point he's not afraid of the other prisoners that he's being held with, but really just traumatized about being in CCOT in general. And what we're also learning is that Garcia is actually not even being held at CCOT anymore. He was transferred about a week ago to another prison. That was about 9 days ago. He says that the conditions are better there, but he hasn't had any access to any news from outside of the prison, no ability to communicate with anybody. And he also says that the senator was the first person outside of prison that he's had any communication with since last month when he was taken. Now, here at the airport, Garcia's wife was here. She was tearing up as the senator spoke to us about all of this. As far as what's next, we know the big focus is on trying to return him to the United States. And the senator telling us the point of all of this, the point of this visit and the push to bring him back is all about due process. Take a listen to what the senator had to say.
It's also important that people understand this case is not just about one man. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States of America. If you deny the constitutional rights of one man, you threaten the constitutional rights and due process for everyone else in America.
So that is the whole point of taking this trip over there and really highlighting this case. At this point, we don't know if Garcia will be brought back to the United States. The president of El Salvador, as well as the Trump administration here, saying that is not going to happen. And Mark and Tosin, I want to highlight something. If anybody's at home been following this the last 2 days, you may have noticed last night, the photo originally posted by Senator Van Hollen shows the two of them, Garcia and the senator, sitting around a table with some glasses of water. A photo later posted on X by the president of El Salvador shows 2 glasses with sugared or maybe salted rims and a cherry sitting in front of them. Looks like maybe margaritas or some other drink. The senator saying today that those were props placed there by aides of the president and other El Salvadorian officials to look like something else was going on there. So something he was just pointing out the efforts that the administration out there is going to make this look like it's something different than what it was. So that's the latest out here, Mark and Tosin.
Marielle, before we let you go, we know Senator Van Hollen has been called out on a number of things. Senator Hollen spoke about the Rachel Morin case. Rachel was murdered by a fugitive from El Salvador in 2023. Her killer was found guilty for her murder this week.
And Marielle, her mother, Patty, was at the White House recently and called out the senator for his trip. How did he respond?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to this whole idea of due process and your day in court. The senator saying that what happened in that case is heartbreaking, that he feels for the family. But in that case, the person suspected was taken to court, had his day in court, and was eventually convicted. What he's calling for here is for Abrego Garcia to have his day in court. And he says if the Trump administration really believes that he is a member of a gang or did some other criminal activity, then to prove it in court. So that is really what it comes down to, is due process, the law that we have here in the United States, and making sure that it's followed.